On the evening of my retirement party, my daughter stood before 30 guests and announced I was losing my mental capacity. "Dad's been making some concerning financial decisions lately," she said, holding up a glass of champagne I'd paid for. "Greg and I think it's time we help manage his affairs." Then she asked me, in front of everyone, to sign a power of attorney document. Right there, at my own retirement dinner. What I discovered over the next 48 hours, and what I did about it, would change everything. Before we continue, please subscribe to Shattered Vengeance, and write in the comments what time it is where you are right now. The banquet room at the Fairmont Hotel Vancouver overlooked the harbor. I'd taught high school English for 37 years, and my former principal had organized this retirement celebration. Colleagues, former students, friends from the neighborhood. Sarah had insisted on helping plan it. "Let me do this for you, Dad," she'd said 3 weeks earlier. "You deserve a perfect send-off." I should have known something was wrong when she'd asked for my credit card to handle the deposits. That was $5,000 ago. But I'd been saying yes to Sarah for 5 years now. Ever since her business failed and she and Greg moved into my house on West 16th Avenue. "Just until we get back on our feet," she'd promised. That was 2019. This was 2024. The retirement party started at 6 o'clock. By 6:30, I realized I hadn't seen the event coordinator once. By 7, when they served dinner, I noticed the menu wasn't what we'd discussed. Prime rib instead of salmon. Top shelf liquor instead of house wine. Sarah had upgraded everything without telling me. I was sitting at the head table when she tapped her fork against her glass. The room went quiet. "Everyone, can I have your attention, please?" Her smile was bright, practiced. She'd been a pharmaceutical sales rep before the layoffs. She knew how to work a room. "I want to thank you all for coming to celebrate my father's amazing career. 37 years, shaping young minds at Point Grey Secondary. We're so proud of him." Applause. My former students cheered. I felt warm, grateful, loved. "But there's something we need to address tonight." Her tone shifted. The room's energy changed. "As many of you know, Dad's been living alone since Mom passed away 8 years ago. And lately, Greg and I have noticed some concerning changes." My stomach tightened. What was she doing? "He's been making unusual financial decisions, forgetting conversations we've had, getting confused about dates and appointments." She pulled papers from her purse. "We've consulted with an elder care attorney, and we think it's in Dad's best interest if Greg and I take over managing his finances, just to protect him." Someone coughed. I saw Mrs. Chen, my former department head, lean forward, concerned. "So, Dad." Sarah walked over, placed the papers in front of me, extended a pen. "We've prepared a power of attorney document. If you could just sign here, we can make sure you're taken care of properly." 30 people watched me, waited. My daughter stood there smiling like she'd just offered me a gift. I looked down at the papers. Power of attorney. Immediate and irrevocable. Granting Sarah and Greg complete control over my bank accounts, investments, property, and medical decisions. Greg stood up from his seat, came over. "It's for the best, Bill. We'll handle everything so you don't have to worry." "The best? For whom?" I picked up the pen. Sarah's smile widened. I set the pen down again. "I'm not signing this," I said quietly. "Dad, don't be stubborn. We're trying to help you." I said no. The room had gone completely silent. Sarah's face flushed. "You're not thinking clearly. That's exactly why we need to do this." I stood up slowly. My legs felt steady. My mind felt clear. Clearer than it had been in 5 years. "Sarah, I taught English literature for nearly 4 decades. I graded 10,000 essays. I managed department budgets. I served on the school board. I'm 67 years old, not 97, and I don't need a guardian. But the financial mistakes, the confusion." "What mistakes?" I looked around the room. "Can you give these people one specific example?" She faltered. "Well, you've been spending money on unnecessary things." "Like what?" Like letting Greg and me live rent-free for 5 years. That's not financially sound." Someone gasped. "I think it was Mrs. Chen." "That wasn't confusion, Sarah. That was generosity." "There's a difference." I picked up my water glass, took a drink, set it down carefully. Enjoy the rest of the party, everyone. It seems I won't be staying for dessert. I walked out of that banquet room with my spine straight and my head up. 30 people watched me go. Nobody tried to stop me. The valet brought my 2015 Honda Civic around. I'd bought it the year Linda died. Paid cash. 13 years of teaching summer school and tutoring on weekends had made that possible. I drove home to my house on West 16th Avenue. The house I'd purchased in 1989 for $112,000. The house now worth $890,000, according to the latest property assessment. Sarah and Greg's cars were still at the hotel. I had at least 2 hours before they returned. I went straight to my office. The room Linda had used for her sewing before the cancer took her. I'd converted it into a workspace afterward, filing cabinets, desk, computer. Everything organized the way I'd organized lesson plans for 37 years. I opened my laptop and pulled up my banking records. Then I started documenting every transaction, every deposit, every withdrawal. 5 years of financial history. I worked with the precision I'd used grading AP English exams. Evidence, facts, numbers. By midnight, I had my spreadsheet complete. Monthly mortgage payments I'd continued making on a paid-off house, just so Sarah and Greg could tell their friends they lived mortgage-free. $42,800. Property taxes and insurance, $19,400. Utilities averaging $230 monthly. $13,800. Groceries and household supplies, $28,600. But the credit card statements told the real story. Sarah had been an authorized user on my visa since she turned 21. I'd kept her on it thinking it would help her build credit. Greg was added 3 years ago when they moved in. For emergencies, Sarah had said. Restaurants, $11,400. The Keg, Miku, Boulevard. Places I'd never eaten at. Clothing from Holt Renfrew and Nordstrom, $8,200. Electronics, $4,900. A 75-inch television I'd never watched. A PlayStation 5 that sat in what used to be Linda's sewing room. Vacations to Whistler, to Tofino, to Palm Springs, $14,700. Furniture from Restoration Hardware for our bedroom, $6,100. None of it authorized. All of it charged while I ate Subway sandwiches and bought sale items at Save On Foods. Total support provided over 60 months. $147,200. I saved the file. 5 years of enabling. 5 years of telling myself I was helping family. 5 years of being afraid that if I said no, I'd lose my daughter the way I'd lost Linda. Tonight, at my retirement party, she'd tried to take everything else. I heard the front door open around 12:30. Voices in the hallway. Sarah's sharp, angry. Greg's lower, soothing. He completely humiliated us. In front of everyone. Baby, calm down. We'll figure this out. We can't wait. The conservatorship petition needs to be filed Monday or we lose the court date. I sat very still in my office. The door was closed but not locked. They didn't know I was listening. What if he fights it? Greg asked. He won't. His own lawyer will tell him he needs representation. That'll cost him $20,000 minimum. He won't spend that kind of money. He's too cheap. And if he does fight, then we'll tell the judge about the spending, the confusion. We'll make him look incompetent. I've already talked to 3 of his former colleagues. They'll testify he seemed off at school events. My former colleagues, people I'd worked with for decades. Sarah had been recruiting witnesses against me. What about the house? Greg said. Once we have power of attorney, we sell it. The market's insane right now. Low 800s, maybe more. We pay off our debts, set aside enough for his care, split the rest. How much for his care? Sarah laughed. Not her real laugh. The sales pitch laugh. Long-term care facility? Maybe $200,000 if we're generous. That leaves $600,000 for us. $300 each. They were dividing my estate while I was still alive. While I sat 20 feet away in Linda's sewing room, I waited until they went upstairs. Waited until I heard their bedroom door close. Then I opened my phone and sent 3 emails. The first went to James Whitmore, my estate attorney. I'd updated my will 2 years ago when Sarah first started asking about my end-of-life plans. James had been Linda's attorney too. He'd handled her estate when she passed. Subject: urgent. Attempted conservatorship. Need meeting Monday, 8 a.m. The second went to TD Canada Trust's fraud department. I had documentation of unauthorized charges. $53,300 worth of unauthorized charges. Subject: fraud report. Authorized user abuse. Require immediate investigation. The third email went to myself. I attached the spreadsheet. $147,200. I titled it Evidence. Then I went to bed. I didn't sleep, but I rested. There's a difference. Monday morning I was sitting in James Whitmore's office at 7:55. He'd responded to my email within 20 minutes Saturday morning. Come in first thing Monday. Bring everything. I brought everything. James was 62, gray beard, wire-rimmed glasses. He'd been practicing law for 34 years. He read my spreadsheet without speaking. Then he read it again. Bill, this is elder financial abuse. I know. The conservatorship attempt makes it worse. They're not trying to help you. They're trying to seize your assets. I know that too now. He leaned back in his chair. Under BC law, you have several options. Civil suit for restitution, criminal complaint for fraud. Or we can handle this quietly, document everything, and cut them off completely. What would you recommend? Honestly, you're a retired teacher. You don't need the stress of a trial, but you do need protection. And they need consequences. What kind of consequences? James pulled out a legal pad, started writing. First, we remove them as authorized users. Today, I'll call TD while you're here. Second, we document everything for potential criminal charges, but hold them in reserve. Third, we send a formal notice that they have 30 days to vacate your property. No lease, no tenancy agreement, no legal right to remain. They'll fight it. They can try. But BC law is clear. It's your property. You can revoke permission to occupy whenever you choose. And given what they tried to do Friday night, you have cause. He made the call to TD while I sat there. Authorized users removed. New cards issued. Old cards canceled. Fraud investigation opened. By 9:30 Monday morning, Sarah and Greg couldn't access my money anymore. By 10 o'clock, James had drafted the notice to vacate. By 10:30, I'd signed it. They need to be served formally, James said. I'll arrange a process server. Should happen tomorrow. What do I do in the meantime? Go home. Act normal. Don't confront them. Let the legal process work. I drove home. Sarah's car was in the driveway. She worked from home now, doing consulting. I'd never seen her consult with anyone, but she was on her laptop a lot. I walked in through the front door. She was in the kitchen, on her phone. Dad, we need to talk. I have an appointment downtown, I said, which was true. James had scheduled a follow-up for Thursday. This is important. About Friday night. I'm running late, Sarah. I went to my office, closed the door, locked it. Something I'd never done before. Through the door, I heard her try the handle. Dad, why is the door locked? I'm working on something private. Since when do you lock doors in your own house? Since I found out you're trying to steal it, I thought. But I said nothing. She gave up after a few minutes. I heard her talking to Greg on the phone, agitated, worried. By Tuesday afternoon, the process server had delivered the notice. I was at White Rock Beach, walking, when my phone started ringing. Sarah. Then Greg. Then Sarah again. I let them go to voicemail. The first message. Dad, what is this? A notice to vacate? You can't be serious. The second message. This is insane. We're family. You can't just throw us out. The third message. Call me back right now. We need to talk about this. I deleted them all. When I got home at 6, they were both waiting in the living room. The notice to vacate sat on the coffee table. 30 days? Sarah's voice was shrill. You're giving us 30 days to find a place in Vancouver? Do you know how expensive rent is? I imagine it's quite expensive, I said calmly. Perhaps you should have thought about that before spending $11,000 of my money on restaurants. Her face went pale. You've been tracking our spending? I'm an accountant by training, Sarah. I taught business math for 10 years before switching to English. I track everything. Greg stood up. He was bigger than me. 6'2", 200 pounds. Gym membership paid for with my credit card. Bill, let's be reasonable. We can work this out. There's nothing to work out. You tried to have me declared incompetent so you could sell my house and split the proceeds. I have 30 days' notice recorded. This is being reasonable. We were trying to help you, Sarah said. By stealing from me? We didn't steal. We used the cards you gave us. I walked to my office, retrieved a folder, brought it back, opened it on the coffee table next to their notice. These are bank statements, credit card bills, a complete accounting of every dollar you've spent in 5 years. $147,200. None of it authorized, all of it documented. Sarah looked at the spreadsheet. Her hands started shaking. I filed a fraud report with TD. They're investigating. My attorney says I have grounds for criminal charges, but I'm willing to settle this civilly on one condition. What condition? Greg's voice had changed, smaller now. You move out within 30 days. You sign a promissory note for $147,200. You pay me back at $950 per month for the next 15 years. You do this quietly, without drama, and I don't press charges. We can't afford $950 a month, Sarah said. Then get jobs. Real jobs. Greg worked construction before. Sarah has a business degree. You're both in your mid-30s. Figure it out. And if we refuse? Greg tried to sound tough. Failed. Then I pursue criminal charges for fraud and identity theft. You risk up to 10 years in prison under the criminal code. Your choice. Sign the agreement or face trial. They signed. Not that night. They fought for 3 more days, called me names, cried, threatened. Sarah tried to turn her Aunt Margaret against me. Margaret called me Saturday morning. Bill, Sarah says you're throwing them onto the street. Sarah and Greg tried to have me declared incompetent so they could sell my house. They've stolen nearly $150,000 from me over 5 years. I'm not throwing them out. I'm holding them accountable. Silence. Then, oh my God. Bill, I'm so sorry. I had no idea. Neither did I until they pushed too far. By Thursday, they'd found an apartment in Burnaby. 2-bedroom, $1,500 a month. They'd both gotten jobs, Sarah at a call center, Greg back in construction. By Friday, they'd signed the promissory note. $950 monthly for 180 months. They'd be paying me until they were 50 years old. On moving day, I took photographs. Every room, every scratch they'd left on Linda's hardwood floors, every hole in the drywall where they'd mounted their TV. I documented it all. At 4:30 in the afternoon, the U-Haul pulled away. Sarah didn't say goodbye. Greg muttered something about how I'd regret this. I stood in my empty house. My house, not our house. Mine. The first payment arrived October 15th. $950. E-transfer. No message. I didn't spend it. I opened a separate savings account. Every month, another $950 went in. By December, I had $2,850 saved. I called James Whitmore. I want to set up a scholarship fund. What kind? For kids from low-income families who want to study English literature at Point Grey Secondary. In Linda's name, he helped me establish it. The Linda Morrison Memorial Scholarship, funded by the monthly payments from my daughter and son-in-law who tried to steal my house. I taught them the lesson Linda always wanted them to learn. Actions have consequences. Debts must be paid, and dignity isn't negotiable. 3 months after they moved out, I was at Save On Foods. Sarah was in the checkout line ahead of me. She didn't see me at first. Her cart held store-brand items, no-name cereal, day-old bread, the same things I'd been eating while she dined at Miku. She turned, saw me, looked away quickly. I didn't gloat, didn't say anything, just nodded and moved to another line. That night, I sat in Linda's sewing room, now my office again. Her picture still on the desk. 52 years old when the cancer took her. She'd been gone 8 years, but I still talk to her sometimes. I finally did it, I said to her photograph. I stood up for myself. I thought I heard her voice. Proud. Relieved. About time, Bill. 6 months later, Mrs. Chen called. Bill, the school board wants to honor you at the year-end assembly. They're naming the library after you. The William Morrison Reading Room. I attended the ceremony. Former students spoke. Colleagues shared stories. And at the end, they unveiled a plaque. The William Morrison Reading Room. In honor of a teacher who spent 37 years teaching students not just how to read, but how to think, how to question, and how to stand up for what's right. Sarah sent a text that night. Just 3 words. Saw the video. I didn't respond. The payments kept coming. $950. Every month, like clockwork. By the end of year 1, the scholarship fund had $11,400. We awarded the first Linda Morrison Memorial Scholarship to a girl from a single-parent home who wanted to study poetry at UBC. Her mother cried at the ceremony. This changes everything for her, she told me. That's what I told Sarah when she finally called, 2 years after moving out. Dad, can we talk? I'm listening. I'm sorry. Really sorry. For everything. Are you sorry you did it, or sorry you got caught? Long pause. Both, honestly, but mostly. I'm sorry I hurt you. I'm sorry I disrespected Mom's memory. I'm sorry I tried to take everything you and Mom built together. I sat in silence for a moment. The scholarship has helped 4 students so far. Full tuition, books, living expenses. Because of what you did, 4 kids got opportunities they wouldn't have had. I don't understand. Your payments fund it. Every dollar you send goes to kids who need it. You can't undo what you did, Sarah, but you're helping create something good from it. She started crying. Real tears this time. Can I see you sometime? Maybe. When you've made 5 years of payments. When you've proven you understand what accountability means. Then we'll talk. She hung up. The payments continued. I'm 71 now. 4 years since that retirement party. The house is quiet, but it's mine. The scholarship has helped 12 students. Sarah and Greg have made 48 payments without missing one. Sometimes former students stop me at Safeway or Tim Hortons. Mr. Morrison, you changed my life. They don't know about Sarah. They don't know about the money. They just remember a teacher who believed in them. That's enough. Linda's picture still sits on my desk. I still talk to her sometimes, usually in the evening when the house is quiet and the sun is setting over the mountains. I miss you, I tell her. But I'm okay. I'm finally okay. I learned something important at 67 years old. You can love people from a distance. You can forgive without forgetting. You can demand respect without being cruel. And sometimes the best revenge isn't revenge at all. It's peace. My name is William Morrison. I'm 71 years old. I live in Vancouver, British Columbia. I taught English literature for 37 years. And I finally learned that the most important lesson isn't in any book. It's knowing your worth and refusing to settle for less. If you enjoyed this story, please like this video, subscribe to Shattered Vengeance, and share your thoughts in the comments below. Have you ever had to set boundaries with family members who took advantage of you? How did you handle it? Your story might help someone else who's struggling right now. Thank you for listening.